Hi! So today I'm going to talk to you about a Portuguese documentary, which means this will probably have like 3 views unless Tony's fans find it and it goes viral. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about Tony, which is a Portuguese documentary by Jorge Pelicano. Now, you need to know who Tony is, and if you're not Portuguese, I'm not sure you will, but if you're Portuguese, you do know who Tony is. Tony Carreira. He's a massive superstar in Portugal. He is a popular musician, and when I say popular, I don't necessarily mean the pop genre, but the like folk. You know, imagine a very, very kitsch country, romantic musician in the United States. So that's Tony. So he does these songs that are very simple in melody, although they are very well produced and the lyrics are well taken care of. And so, you know, we all know his songs. Like, we can't even not know his songs. So Tony is a massive superstar in Portugal. He was an immigrant in France, and he started out singing about the Portuguese feeling and the missing home and stuff, and now he just, you know, he's massive right now here. So that's Tony Carreira. That's who he is. I need to say 2 things. There are 2 things that you need to know about me before I get into the actual review. I am a fan of Jorge Pelicano. So everything he does, I'm just drinking it. I'm just waiting for it. I'm waiting for the dates that they come out, that his movies come out. He's got so far 4 movies. I've seen them all. I went to the film festivals, the whole thing, because this man just shoots as I feel. So I just love him. So you gotta know this. It's very hard for me to say anything bad about Jorge Pelicano because, again, he just nails it in images and in the way he shoots. So, you know. Second thing, if there is a genre that is films about music, you know, music films, I eat them up. Okay, I drink them up. I slurp them. So again, I am also a fan of this genre. So if it isn't, it should be. If there is a genre of music films, whether they're fiction or documentaries, I just eat them up. And I am a fan of music. I am a total fan of bands. So I identify with it all. So I just eat them up. So this being said, it is very hard for me to say bad things about this movie. Sorry. Not that it's without its flaws. It's got flaws, and let's start by those. You should know that this is not Jorge Pelicano's idea. This is a commission. So that means that Tony Carreira paid Jorge Pelicano to do this movie. So obviously it's going to be very forgiving about his image, and it's going to be very protective of his image, and it's going to be very uplifting of his image. So that is the worst part of this movie. Not that it doesn't work in that way. I think it does. It does what it's supposed to do, which is this that I just said, you know, Tony kind of bought this movie, let's say, like he has a book as well to close up a cycle in his career, because he's out of the spotlight. He decided to take a break after a long time in the public eye. He decided to take a step back. So he ended a cycle with a big concert and a big movie and a book, and so that was the closure of a big, huge, long cycle in where he just felt the need to take a step back. So it's a commission, and it does what it's supposed to do, which is uplifting his image and showing the best side of him as an artist, and that works. I mean, that works. I just thought personally that if you go and watch a documentary about Tony, you should get out of the room knowing more about Tony than I knew before, which didn't happen, okay? So it's too protective of his image. I think his audience would have forgiven if he was more, would have forgiven him if he was even a bit more open and a bit more brave and a bit more out there. Because there were two things, or one thing mainly, but there were two things that kind of shadowed his career lately. His separation from his wife, you know, everlasting wife, but that's personal life. He didn't even have to go there. But since he did, and he mentioned it, maybe he should have gone a little further. Anyway, the other thing that actually shadowed his career were allegations of plagiary. Two allegations of plagiary. One in 2008 that were true, and he paid for it, and he actually you know, did what he had to do. But now in 2017, he had just this big, massive, you know, big, massive allegations. And the movie doesn't address it in a absolute way. I mean, what's in the movie is just not enough to explain the scandal. You know, it's so obviously not enough that it's kind of embarrassing, if you ask me. So I expected a little more bravery from him. That's all. And Pelicano did a good work. You know, he did a good job in, you know, if you're not paying attention, it almost feels like it was answered. It wasn't, okay? So I expected a little more bravery, a little more outgoing attitude, a little more honesty. I don't know. That's the worst part of the movie. The best part of the movie, there are a lot of best parts. Let me say this, because this is a movie, it doesn't matter if it's Tony or if it's Elvis Presley or if it's, you know, Lenny Kravitz or Michael Jackson, it doesn't matter, or Phil Collins, it doesn't matter, or Billy Ray Cyrus, it doesn't matter who it is. This is about the love of music, about a hard way of getting to the top, and it's about a fan experience. So there are two things, you know, the point of view of the artists, very heartfelt, as Pelicano knows how to do, and the point of view of the fans, very, very heartfelt, and as Pelicano knows how to do. So these things are always dialoguing, and there's the point of view about the music from these two passionate sides. And it doesn't matter if it's about Tony. If you ever, you know, bought a ticket months before the show, or if you ever checked online every day or every hour for the tour dates to come out, whatever tour dates, or if you ever went into a venue 2 hours or 3 hours before the show started, or if you ever been in a sound check, or if you ever been in that line at the end of the show waiting for the kiss or the hug or the photo, you know what I'm talking about, and this is for you. So it is very well exploited in that sense. It is so, like, my hair just stood up. I was grinning all the way, because it's about the experience of the love of music. It doesn't matter if it's the artist or the fan. It's all there. Like, it's all there, and it's fabulous. I was grinning, and from top to the bottom, I was just eating it up. It's beautifully shot. It's heartfelt. It's gorgeous. It's all there. That feeling, you know, of passion is there, and it's so good to watch, and it's so good to feel, and it's so good to visit in a movie theater. It's a good experience. And then there is one thing, actually two things. Let me start by the simpler one to explain. I'm not sure if it's a simpler one. There is this Portuguese kitsch to it, especially in the first half. You know, the missing tooth right there, and the guy that thinks he can sing but he can't, and the allegories with food, and this genuine candor. I don't know how to explain it. We've all felt it. We've all been there. We all know what it is. We all know people like that. We are a little bit like that sometimes. So there is this Portuguese kitsch that is so irresistible that I just loved it, like the first half. And then in the second half, as I said, Tony is, this is about him saying farewell to the audience. So there is this last show. I mean, this guy, he filled Olympia, he filled the Colosseums, he filled Altice Arena. For anyone who knows Portugal, he filled Altice Arena multiple times. I mean, he fills it every year. If he did it, you know, he would fill it every year. So this is the last show is in Altice Arena, or a couple of nights in Altice Arena. I'm not even sure anymore. And the sequence of the beginning of the shows, the beginning of that sequence, it's how can I put this? I'm going to talk to Pelicano straight on. You've seen enough concerts to know that sometimes there is something that lifts up when audience and artist are on the same page. You know, when the hearts are open and they're in the same page. There is this energy that lifts up and it gets to it that is bigger than anyone. I mean, that's the mission of an artist. It's to get us there, you know, it's to raise us up, to make us transcend. And sometimes that feeling is tangible in a room. It's very rare, but I'm pretty sure that the amount of concerts that you followed him, that you followed Tony, and I'm sure he reached it at some point. And when you do that sequence, you know, the beginning of the show, the beginning of the sequence of the last show, with the close-ups and the audience coming in, and the dance of the equipment, and the musicians prepping, and the sounds of backstage, the audio sounds of the backstage. Oh, that is just amazing. And if you just took it a little further, you'd get to the it in a movie theater. Okay, you'd get to it. Just if you took it just in a little further on in the time of the movie, you would get it in a movie theater. It was like my hair was starting to stand up. It was like I was feeling like I feel when I'm in an arena or in a venue and my favorite band is about to come in, and you just are just, you know, and then they sing and they just hit that sweet spot and we were all with them, you know. You would have gotten it, but I get it. You had to get to the facts, but if you just stretched it a little bit, you would have reproduced that feeling in a movie theater, and that is amazing. I mean, yeah. That is amazing. Fabulous sequence, and just kudos to you anyway, because that is good. So, I recommend this movie for those people who had a fan experience, who love music, who have felt anything that I have just said. I was in a film festival in watching the last Pelicano movie, which is Until Porno Do Us Part. I think this is the name in English anyway. I was in the film festival, and in the Q&A, I asked him what was his next job, if he was already working in his next movie. And he said, yes, I am working, it's a commission, and I am working in another discrimination movie, another movie about discrimination. You know, he did porno, not about porno, but go check it out because it's one of the best movies I've ever seen, that one. And he addressed somebody that would be marginalized by society, and he felt, and he said that I'm working on a movie about another guy that is discriminated. It's about Tony Carreira. It's a commission. So if you're not one person to discriminate, you go to the movie theater and you watch this. If you are a fan of music and you love the experience of music, if you've ever been a fan, if you ever, you know, felt anything that I've just described, this movie is for you. It doesn't matter if it's about Tony or not. Please don't discriminate. That's bullshit, you know. If you don't like music, or if you really don't like Tony, well then don't watch it. But don't not see this movie because it's about Tony Carreira, whether you like it or not, whether you like his music or not. On a personal note, I should say that I have met Tony Carreira. Sorry, this is my video and I'll say it. I have met him Why have I met him? Because I was in line at the end of a show. It's impossible not to have encountered a show of Tony Carreira somewhere. There was a summer where I would be on vacation. I would step out, and in the middle of the city, the county has paid Tony Carreira to sing in there. So I've seen, I think, 3 shows of Tony. I think in one of them, I actually waited in line to talk to Tony because I was with somebody that needed a job, and Tony Carreira is one of the people that pays better to the professionals he works with. And so I was with a person who wanted to leave him a CD and ask him for a CD at the time and ask him for a job. It's true. It's in in the film, and it's true. He actually pays well to the people that, or at least better than most. So it's not just because he can, but it's also because he wants to. And one thing that I have took out of these 3 shows that I've seen of Tony Carreira, and I've seen a lot of shows of a lot of people, and I've met a lot of people, a lot. I should say that it takes a big man and a lot of humility to hire people that are better than himself, okay? He hires people that are better than himself, and his shows are flawless in what comes to production. I mean, the light is good, the stage is good, the sound is good, the musicians are good, okay? He says something in the movie that I need to say here without, I hope I'm not spoiling it for you. He says that I never believed that because it's popular music, people should be discriminated in the way they live it. So I did the Colosseums, and I did Olympia, and I did all this, and I strive for better, and I don't let the label smother me. It's something like this, and I felt that in his shows, and I respect that. I totally respect that. Obviously, coming out of the movie theater, I felt more like a fan of Tony. Impossible not to. That was the whole point of the movie. So please bear in mind that it is a commission, and it is very protective of his image. I wished that they had been braver in what they presented us. I didn't come out knowing anything else than we all already knew about Tony. It didn't answer the questions we had, but it is a good movie. It's a heartfelt movie, and it gives you the point of view of an artist, very protected image-wise in this movie, but it gives you the feeling of a fan, and you come out of the theater saying, "Oh, I love him." So that's the point of the movie, and it totally worked. Another thing, Tony, the coat, the jacket you had on in the movie, in the book presentation, I want it. Since we're asking, I want it. It's gorgeous. Since we're asking. Bye-bye, go to the movies, and please share this with Tony's fans who speak English, because I would like it to go viral. Thank you. Go to the movies.